What's going on, y'all? So today we're going to talk about investing because it's one of the things I love to talk about, and in particular we're going to talk about how to invest $500. Now for many of you, $500 might not seem like a lot of money, or it might seem like a lot of money and you have no idea how to get $500. If that's the case, that's a whole other video that we can talk about later. What I want to talk about right now though is that if you have $500 and you want to start investing, how do you do it? How do you get started? Where do you go? What other options do you have? And here's the cool thing is that you do have options. You actually have quite a few options. But today I want to talk about what are my top five. What are my top five investment options for $500? So we're going to look at those. And the best part though is I think number 5 is the one that you're going to be most excited about because you can take action on it right now. So let's find out what these top 5 investment options are right now. You got $500. Does that limit you on some of your investment options? It does limit you somewhat. You got places like Vanguard that you'll need like at least $1,000. Fidelity, sometimes you need like $2,500 depending on the fund size. Schwab, you need $1,000 to get started unless you're doing some sort of monthly ACH. So there are some places that $500 will not allow you to get started investing. These are just the minority. There are several more options that you can start, and that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, the first place that we're going to start is investing into mutual funds, ETFs, and or stocks. Now, that is a wide array of different places that you can invest into, but it really just depends on where you're at in your investment experience, where you're at in your investment timeline. If you've never invested before, buying a stock might not be the best thing for you. So what does that mean? So where should you start? That's where mutual funds or ETFs, exchange traded funds, are probably going to make the most sense because you are being diversified. You're not having to pick one individual stock. If you're buying an ETF or a mutual fund, you're getting anywhere from 50 to 100 different stocks. Unless you're buying the S&P 500 index fund, then you're getting 500 stocks. So there are options. The most common question I get is where do you go? So with $500, that does limit us, as I mentioned, but here's some places that you can check out. So if you want to have more control in choosing your mutual funds or choosing your ETFs, these are the two places you're going to want to check out. The first place is Ally Invest. So with Ally Invest, there is no minimum, so you can get started with $500 or less. They have full access to ETFs, mutual funds, individual stocks. So whatever you're looking for, they have it. And when you make your trades, they're not going to rob you. A lot of places, they're going to charge you $9, $12, sometimes more if you're going to like a full service broker. With Ally Financial, you're looking at $4.95 per trade. So like that is nothing. Yes, there are other apps we'll talk about here in a second that don't charge anything, but as far as having full access, so it's like you have access to every single item on the buffet, and they're only going to charge you $4.95 per trade. That is a good deal, especially since there is no minimum. Another online broker you can look at is Etrade, and Etrade is probably more commonly known as Ally Invest. They are a newer company, kind of had some mergers, so that's why a lot of times you hear Ally, people are like, who's Ally? Who are they? Most likely you've heard of Etrade, you see the commercials, you're comfortable with them. So with Etrade, they have a $500 minimum account balance to get started. They charge $6.95 per trade, so a little bit more than what you're going to get at Ally Invest. So just $2 more, not a big deal if you need a name that you're more comfortable with. Similar in the sense that you have full access to everything. They've got mutual funds, they got ETFs, they've got individual stocks. But here's the cool thing with Etrade that you don't get at Ally is that they have over 90 ETFs that you can buy with zero commission, so zero transaction fee. So instead of paying $6.95 or $4.95, you pay nothing. So there are 90 different options that you can buy with zero transaction costs. So that is one leg up on what Ally has. But once again, these are for if you want more control in choosing your actual investments. Now, if you don't want any control and you want somebody to basically pick your investments for you, the first place I'm going to talk about is Betterment. And I've talked about Betterment before, and this is why. So with Betterment, there is no minimum. You can get started with next to nothing. With Betterment, they are choosing your investments for you. Now, what they are choosing for you are are ETFs. So these are exchange traded funds, and how they determine which ETFs they're buying for you is going to depend on what are your financial goals. So is this a short-term investment? Is this something that you're going to need in the next 3 to 5 years? Or is this something that you are saving or investing for retirement? So it's something you don't plan on touching for the next 10, 20, or 30 years. So depending on your financial goal, they're going to create a portfolio that matches that timeline, that matches that risk tolerance that is justified for that timeline. So if you're going much more longer term, 20 plus years, you're going to be much more in stocks. If you are looking for something a little bit in the shorter term, like 3 to 5 years, you're going to have more bonds than you do stocks. So it just really depends on what your financial goals are. Another similar option to Betterment is called Wealthfront. And they are similar in the sense that you are not choosing the investments. They are choosing those investments for you. They are also using ETFs, exchange traded funds. With them, they do require a $500 minimum to get started. Now, what is really the difference between Betterment and Wealthfront? Other than their logo, the name of the company, they're very, very similar. Both of them are using low-cost ETFs. Their management costs are next to nothing, especially when you're comparing them to any of these large New York Wall Street firms. I mean, for anyone to manage an ETF portfolio for you, for what they charge, it really is next to nothing. I like these two outfits if you don't want to have any control on choosing the investments. You just want to turn over to them, tell them your financial goal, and they'll build that portfolio for you. All right, so we talked about online brokers, we talked about robo-advisors, Betterment, and Wealthfront. What about all these different apps that exist? All of these, you can get started investing with $500, most of them a lot less than that. But there are so many different ones to choose, and even I'm getting confused on all the different ones, how they operate, how one differs than the other. But let me break down some of the more common ones that I hear about and probably you've heard about too. So the first one is called Acorns. So with Acorns, their logo is investing your spare change. So basically they're looking to find additional money you might have in your budget that you just aren't really doing anything with it. So instead of just having it sit in your checking or savings account, why not invest it? So what they are investing to are ETFs, just like Betterment and Wealthfront. You're not having any real control on those ETFs, but it is a very out of sight, out of mind, taking the money from whatever checking accounts that you set up and they're investing it for you. So it's kind of cool. Like, I like this from an experiment of, if you've never really invested or you just want to set up something to where you don't have to manually go deposit a check or log into your banking account online and transfer money. It's those cases where a lot of people get tripped up and they just don't do anything. Whereas with an app like Acorns, you set it up and it will do it for you automatically. So after a year, you could have accumulated hundreds, if not thousands of dollars just by having it do its thing. So that is one option that you should look at. And the most popular investment app that I hear a lot about, that a lot of people are talking about, is Robinhood. So what made Robinhood so attractive? What made Robinhood, people talking about Robinhood and encouraging people to sign up? Well, basically, like, they're one of the first investment apps that I've seen that charges zero commission for any stock or ETF trade. So that's pretty huge. Now, for those of you that don't know this, if you were to open up an investment account with like a Merrill Lynch or any of these big brokerage firms, typically you're going to pay, I've seen anywhere from $20, $40 on up to $80 to $100 to make one stock trade. And that could have been just buying one share, that could have been buying 10 shares, it could have been buying 100 shares, depending on whatever the stock price was. But it's laughable to me to see what these big brokerages are charging compared to places like Robinhood that are charging you nothing to buy ETFs or stocks. Like, that's pretty big. That's huge. So with Robinhood, you can literally open your account in minutes, sync up your online bank account, transfer some money in, and make your first trade. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, you really have no excuse not to start investing with apps like Robinhood. And just recently, they've announced that you can also invest into crypto with Robinhood. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing still remains to be seen, but just shows you that the platform is adjusting, that they recognize where people are investing and what they are interested in, and they're making those adjustments accordingly. Now, I don't know if some of these investment apps are going to be around a year or 2 years from now. We talked about Acorns, we're talking talking about Robinhood. Stash is another one that you can look at, and there's probably 15 to 20 more that I don't have time to mention on this video. But when I see companies like Robinhood that are adding different features, and they're listening not just to their customers, but they're paying attention to what's going on in the market and what's going on in the marketplace and making those adjustments accordingly, like that's just good business. So that's why with a company like Robinhood, I just like that for anybody that hasn't started investing yet, especially since, once again, they're not charging you anything. Now, if there are any limitations, yes, they offer stocks, yes, they offer ETFs and some crypto, but that's really about it. So there aren't like mutual funds, for example, and they don't have the full service, the full access that you're going to get with a place like Etrade or Ally Invest. So that's just one thing to consider. All right, now that we talked about how to invest that $500 into the market, I've given you tons of different choices, whether you want control, you don't want to control, you want somebody else to take advantage or pick that portfolio for you, you want to do it, use an app on your phone. Like there are so many different ways. Now, the other way I want to talk about, so this is number 2, is $500 to become a real estate investor. So with many people that want to invest in real estate, they think of like, well, that's buying a duplex, like that's flipping a house, that's taking out a mortgage, that's having to go to a bank and run my credit to see if I can even approve to take out a loan. Now, here's the cool thing with technology, and we're seeing this with the apps that we just talked about, like with Robinhood. But with technology now, it's like you can become a real estate investor without having to take out a loan, without having to have your credit run. And here's the best part, without having to even leave your house. So with $500, you can become a real estate investor in a company called Fundrise. Now, I did another video talking about Fundrise and how it works, and be sure to check out that video for even more information about that. But I love Fundrise for anybody that's interested in becoming a real estate investor, a little bit hesitant, maybe scared to make that first real estate investment, and maybe don't have a lot of money. So with $500, like you can open up a Fundrise account and get started. So how does it work? How do you actually invest only $500 and become a real estate investor? Basically what Fundrise is they are a real estate investment trust company. So what that means is that they are actually going out and buying these properties on your behalf. Very similar to like an ETF or a mutual fund, or we can think of it like Betterment, Wealthfront, where they're building that portfolio for you. With Fundrise, they are building that real estate portfolio for you and other investors. And essentially what it is that you are crowdfunding their real estate investments, and you're relying on their expertise to make you a good return. Now, the cool thing is that they have a pretty good track record of making a good return. Like they share on their website your expected returns, like what can you expect to make investing with them. Once you open an account, or even before you open the account, you can see, like you can actually go log on their site and see the different properties that they own, like with a Google map of what it looks like and where it's located. And if you actually live close by, you can get in your car and go see it for yourself to see if like, is this legit? Like, if this is this a real operation? Well, it is. And it's just exciting to see the different options that are available. And I opened my Fundrise account earlier this year, funded that with $5,000. Initially it was $1,000, added $4,000, whole other story. And I've already had dividends start to be deposited into my account. So it's just kind of cool to see that my money is making money for me. But once again, I have $5,000 in there right now. You don't have to have $5,000. You can get started with as little as $500. So if you've ever been interested in investing into real estate, just didn't know how to get started, or just didn't know what to do, here is a great option that you can get started without a lot of money up front. All right, the third option, this is an option that I'm fairly partial to. Yes, I'm a financial planner. Yes, I'm a certified financial planner. I've been doing that for 15 plus years. But one of the areas of business that I get most excited about is in the online space, starting an online business. I have just found out through hard work, grit, determination, perseverance, and a whole lot of luck that if you can figure the online business route out, the room for growth, the room for growth in the business, growth in your income, growth in your free time is just so much more exponentially seen with an online business. So I spent 15 plus years growing my financial planning practice. This is a brick and mortar business, and yet my online business is generating me more and has a higher valuation than my brick and mortar business. And yes, I put in a lot of work up front to get it going. But as far as the maintenance, the upkeep, it's so much different, so much less stressful than with my brick and mortar business. Now, maybe that's just with my business, but I'll tell you what, I've talked to so many other people. They'll say the exact same thing that I'm saying right now. Their online business is so much more profitable, so much more or less stressful, and just has allowed so much more opportunity that they ever could have realized in their brick and mortar business. But I know starting an online business, I mean, there's just so many different directions that you can go that it gets scary because there's just so many different choices, and where do you start? Well, the first thing that you got to do is you got to register a domain. Now, the cool thing is you don't even need a domain, but I know for me, like starting my blog, having a website, I wanted to have a domain. I wanted to have my real estate, in the online space. So you can go to GoDaddy, you can go to Namecheap, buy a domain for $12 or less. Like that is nothing. Like that is so a nothing investment, especially if we're talking about $500 to get started. So from there, you're gonna need a hosting account, some place to actually host the website. There you're looking at anywhere from $5 a month, maybe $60 for the entire year. And then maybe you need this, maybe you don't, but you can get a lot of free website templates out there, or you can buy a premium one. Right now I use WordPress for my blog. Now WordPress by itself is free, but with having like a professional theme or just like a good looking theme, which is kind of like the template, how the site looks, those will run you anywhere from $60, maybe on up to $100. So with just those three things, we're looking at $60 for the hosting, $12 for the domain, maybe $100 for the website design, like just the theme. I mean, we're not a lot in, and we still have a lot left from our $500 to really cause more action and more to invest to grow this online business. Now, it's just a lot of people get stuck on where do you start, like what do you do? For me, it was starting a blog, and with blogging, was I talking about like what I ate for lunch yesterday, or where I took my kids on vacation? Like, yeah, kind of not really. For me, I was a little bit more intentional. Being a financial planner, having that in my background, my blog was more focused on talking about investing and financial planning and some of the experiences that I had with, that part of my career. But I've seen other people talk about writing, talk about food, talk about travel, talk about sports, talk about their hobbies, like their dog training or karate or running. I mean, there's so many different things with the blog that you can talk about. And if it's something that you're interested in, I promise you there are others interested in that exact same topic. So first is just kind of finding that community and finding those interests and just sharing those experiences. And then, at least for me, like that's how I started. I didn't start with the intent of actually making money with the blog. It was really just like I mentioned earlier in the video, a little bit of luck. This was definitely a little bit of luck, also hard work and whatnot. But once I got the readership and understood what people were looking for, then that's when the income followed. That's when the revenue started coming, because initially I was there to serve others, with that website. Now, maybe blogging is not your thing. Maybe that's not the direction you want to go, and you want more of like the brick and mortar business that is in the online space. I mean, that's where you have places like Shopify, where you're selling physical product. Now, this could be products that you are making. These could be products that you are drop shipping. There are so many options that you can look at. I've talked to many people that have some sort of Amazon FBA business, so where they're ordering products off Alibaba, from another country, and then they're drop shipping it to somewhere in the US. I've seen people selling everything from wooden kitchen spoons to ladders to a trampoline to wiffle ball bats. I mean, it truly is endless what you can sell. Now, with Amazon FBA, like there is no cost to actually set up the store. You still got to go out and find the products. With Shopify, I mean, they're going to charge you about $29 a month just to have the ability to have the storefront to be able to sell things. So you could have that site for over a year and you've not invested your $500 yet. So there isn't a lot of money up front to get started. And that's what I love about the online business, because with my brick and mortar business, we had a lot of upfront costs to get going. We had to have our phone line, we had to have desks, we had to have a sign, stationery, internet, computers, like all that stuff. And that's what I love about the online business, is that it doesn't take a lot of money to get started. What it's going to cost you the most is your time. Trying to figure out where, what kind of business do you want? Where do you where do you want to live? Like what community, online community you want to be a part of? Like, and who do you want your customer to be, and like who are you going to serve? So there is a lot of time capital up front, but once you invest that time and to connect with others and understand how it works, that's when it gets fun. It's just getting past that initial hurdle of starting to see some success in the online space. But man, like for those that I know that have pushed forward and pushed through and got past that hurdle, it is a fun place to be. If you are interested in learning about setting up a blog and getting started, you can also check out my Make 1K challenge. So this is just a free email series that I put together for those that want to get a blog started, don't really know how. I show you how to get your blog started, how to get it set up, and just some ideas on how you can make your first $1,000 online. So if you're interested, go check out Make 1K challenge. Sign up for the free email series so you can see what that's all about. All right, number 4, another way that you can invest $500. And I'm amazed at how many people that I've seen, especially in the YouTube space, that will bash this idea as if like you investing this money you're not really investing it, you're just throwing it away. You're just might as well just flush it down the toilet because it's a waste of money. So what am I talking about here? It is online courses, investing into online courses. I get it. There are definitely a ton of online courses that are complete scams. People just trying to rip you off, claiming they have like the next great thing and just $9.97 and you'll change your world and become a millionaire overnight. Now, that's not what I'm talking about here. So it really depends on what are your expectations. So if you're investing into an online course and you think that you're going to become a millionaire overnight, then really that's not shame on the person you bought the course from. Like that's shame on you for an unexpected reality check of what's really going to happen with this online course. But if you're looking for a specific result, and you have something that you want to accomplish, then taking $500 and investing that into your education, into just getting past a lot of the hurdles that many people get stuck on. Like if there's an online course that satisfies that, then why wouldn't you want to invest $500 into something that's going to save you time, frustration, failures? I mean, to me, like that's why I've always been okay with buying courses, because that's why I was buying these courses, because there was something that I wanted to learn, because I didn't want to have to go through the 2+ years that it takes most people to get to that point. Because for me, like starting my blog, like that was me learning on my own, because there weren't any online courses at the time to buy, or if there were, like I didn't know about them, so they weren't doing a very good job marketing them to the public. Like I would have paid $500 in a heartbeat to learn what I had to learn on my own that first 2 years of starting my blog. So, and that's why, like I said, I am totally comfortable buying and paying for online courses. And I just did a quick tally of some courses that I've bought like in the last 2 years, and I've paid over $9,000 in online courses. I bought a course called Tribe by Stu McLaren talking about membership sites. I bought a course by Todd Herman called 90 Day Year. I bought a course by Michael Hyatt, The Best Year Ever. I bought First Page Videos from Brian Dean. I bought Video Market Academy from Alex Becker, wanting to learn more about YouTube. Like all these together were over $9,000 that I spent, that I invested into my education through online courses. And I don't regret buying any one of these. Like there was something that I got from each and every one of them. And that's value. Like that's money being made. I mean, that's ROI, return on investment, that I have got from these courses. And like I said, if I didn't buy these, could I have figured it out? Eventually. But this shaved off so much time, so much frustration. My goodness, like I'm thankful for the fact that these people put these courses out, that I could purchase them, that I could buy them, because man, I wanted to learn from them. Now with most of these courses, they do cost more than $500. So what are some courses that you can buy that you can invest in yourself for $500? Michelle from Making Sense of Sense, I interviewed her before where she talked about how she's making over $100,000 a month from her blog. So Michelle has a course that she also sells, Making Sense of Affiliate Marketing, and it's $200, and it shows how she's been able to make over $100,000 a month from her blog through affiliate marketing. That's just one example. Another blogger that I know, Holly Johnson, she is a writer and she generates over 6 figures per year through writing. writing. So she has her course that you can buy for less than $200 that shows how she started as a freelance writer and how she was able to increase her rates to where to now she generates over 6 figures per year just from writing. And even these priced at $200 is more than some other courses that you can get, because you can go to places like Udemy that, I mean, if you sign up to Udemy's email list, like, they will sell you a course for $12.97 or less, like, every single day. So all their courses are about $13 or less, and you can buy it on learning a new language, how to invest in the stock market, how to increase your productivity, how to become a professional programmer. I mean, they have so many different options of courses that you can buy. I mean, there's a lot of courses you can buy there for $500. But the point is that this is not an expense. Like, this is not a sunk cost. Buying an online course, if there's something specific that you're trying to accomplish, like, this is an investment in yourself, and treat it as such. Like, don't think that you're wasting money or that you're a sucker because if you bought something that the information is available on the internet, why would I pay $500 when I could just go to the internet and Google it? I mean, you can, right? But the whole point of a course, and the big difference is this, is that it's presented to you in a format that is understandable, that is digestible, and for the most part should encourage you and allow you to take action. That is the whole point in buying a course, is that to be able to consume the information, to take action. So if you're going to Google, find the information that you need and taking action, then more power to you. But if you're going to Google, finding your answer and doing nothing about it and just complaining that why would I want to buy a course for $500 when I can just go to Google? Well, if you're not doing anything about it, then just stop complaining. So buy the course, consume the course, take action. All right, number 5, and I said that this would be my most favorite one, and this is one that I'm excited about just because anybody can do it. It's something that I'm going to get my kids to do because I've already talked to them about it. We just haven't taken action yet, but I promise we will soon. It's summertime. We've got some free time on our hands. Like, this is going to happen this summer. So what is number 5? What is the one $500 investment that I'm excited about? What I'm excited about is this: doing the flip challenge. Now, I didn't come up with this. I wish that I did because it's such a great idea, but there's a guy that you may know by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk.
Here's my big belief. My big belief is this, my friends. The 2017 Flip Challenge is this. I believe that if you amass the hours that you allocate to a iPhone game for 3 hours here, to when you're on the bus commuting for an hour.
So last year, Gary Vaynerchuk came up with this concept and he called it the Flip Challenge. And what this Flip Challenge is all about is that he recognizes that we spend a lot of time on our phones. We are constantly looking at social media, looking at whatever apps that are available, and we just spend so much time, like, we're wasting so much time on our phones not being productive and always complaining that we don't have enough money, that we're always broke, that, man, I just wish that I had some extra money so I could do X, Y, Z. So the challenge is this, is that if you're gonna spend so much time on your phone, then why not be productive and actually make money from it? So that's what he came up with, the Flip Challenge. So what is this Flip Challenge about? So what he's talking about is you're spending all this time on your phone, right? And why not, instead of just wasting your time playing Fortnite or any of these stupid games, is that you can go to a garage sale, or you can go on online, like an online discount retailer, or head to your local Walmart and check out the clearance aisle, find something that is on sale, and then flip it for a profit. And you could flip it on places like Amazon or eBay are probably the two most common things. So think about the things that you could go buy on Craigslist or at a garage sale that somebody is selling for dirt cheap, and then you can sell it on eBay because, man, somebody's junk is somebody else's treasure, and Gary knows that. Like, I mean, there's so many different things out there, and they could be like video games, it could be baseball cards, it could be shoes. There are so many different things. So why not spend your time doing the research on your phone instead of wasting your time on Facebook, Snapchat, whatever, and actually make a profit? So this is something that I think anybody can do, and especially if you're complaining about always being broke, then why not? Like, why not spend a little bit of time, do some research, and flip something for a profit? Like, are there garage sales in your area? Probably. Can you go onto Craigslist on your phone and find things that are on sale that people are trying to get rid of because they're moving, or, you know, they just don't want anymore? And then you can go sell that on eBay or in a Facebook sales group or something. I mean, there are all these different areas that you can sell this stuff to make a profit. So that's the one I'm excited about, and I'm excited about just because I know that this is going to be such a valuable lesson for my kids to show them, man, this is just a non-traditional way of making money. You don't have to go to McDonald's and get paid, you know, minimum wage to make some money. You can spend a little bit of time, make a lot more, you know, if you could find the right thing. So that's why I'm excited. You know, my oldest, he's going to be 11 this summer, and we're going to do this. I already told him we're going to do this. So I've been doing some research, trying to figure out what are some of the items that we can get that, you know, it makes sense to him, you know, something that he kind of gets. I don't want anything that's too complicated, but I just know we're gonna have a lot of fun. And I know that's something that you could have a lot of fun too. All right, so those are the 5 ways that you can invest $500. And I wanna know, which one are you the most excited about? Is it investing in the stock market using like an online app or one of these robo-advisors? Is it the flip challenge? Is it Fundrise with real estate? Let me know which one resonates with you the most, the one that you're going to take action on immediately. Let me know in the comments below. All right, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, your life, and only you can make it awesome. Until next time, peace.